this off. Okay. Alright. Alright, there we go. Okay. Ready?
Yeah.
Alright, so what's your name?
Mark Johnson,
How old are you?
54,
Where are you from?
Meriden, Connecticut.
Alright. So obviously you joined the Air Force, and there's an Air Force Academy in Colorado.
Mm.
It was founded in 1954. Did you try and join it?
No.
Did you know it existed?
I did.
Whereas, like, did you think you might have wanted to do that, or?
Yeah, but I think to get in the Air Force Academy, I don't know if my grades were good enough, to be honest with you.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I didn't even attempt to look into it,
Yeah, okay.
but
Alright, when did you join the Air Force?
1980, right out of high school.
Alright, when mandatory military service ended in 1973, the volunteer military was born. By the early 1980s, the term poverty draft had gained currency to connote the belief that the enlisted ranks of the military were made up of young people with limited economic opportunities. Was a lack of opportunity a reason for you joining the Air Force? And if not, did you, or also, did you know anybody who joined for that reason? Nope. There we go. Shoot. Let me fix this. Okay. Do you want me to read it again?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
To be honest with you, I wasn't even aware of the, that's why people were joining.
Yeah, well, it's obviously it's not a universal thing, but
I just, one of my friends wanted to go in on the buddy system, so I went to meet with the recruiter, and, we went over, we took that test to see what you were best at. I forget what it's called, actually.
it's fine.
So, so the kid that wanted me to join, my friend, he chickened out at the last minute. So I ended up going. But during that interview, they find out what you're best at, like what skills that you're best at. And I went through that. But then when the recruiter mentioned that I could be a jet engine mechanic, I kind of had my mind set on that.
Yeah. Were there any like restrictions? Like, were there any requirements for joining? Could you just join?
No, I was. You had to be old enough.
Well, yeah.
That's about it.
Was there like a grade requirement, or
No.
no,
Or
not a very tough one?
in the Air Force, you had to have a high school diploma
Okay.
or a GED, I think.
Mhm.
But you had to graduate from high school.
So, did anybody there? Did you know if they joined because of a lack of like economic?
I didn't know anybody that joined. The only person I know that.
But like people that you served with, were they like? Did they talk like? Were they there for like patriotism, or were they there just because like?
I think both.
It was an opportunity, both.
Yeah.
All right. I forgot that. All right. What made you join the Air Force specifically? Why didn't you choose a more popular branch of the military, like the Army, which in 1980 they actually had like over 200,000 more troops?
In the Army?
Yeah. In 1980 there were 200,000 more troops, approximately, than there were in the Air Force. So what made you choose the Air Force over like more popular?
Education, I think.
They had more like opportunity.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, first, and it wasn't. I didn't want to. I mean, I wasn't going to join the military to fight.
yeah.
I mean, I wanted to get an education, and that was the best one. Well, I would say the Air Force or the Navy.
So what exactly did they do for your education? Like,
What, you mean what education did they give me?
yeah.
They give you, I mean, basically just basic training in technical school for whatever career field.
Do you get like a degree for anything?
No, you get a certificate. That's it. But they do offer you college benefits.
So if
In
you
the
were
service.
attending college, they would help out.
Yeah.
Like they would pay for it, or just
Yeah.
like benefits.
No, they pay for it,
They pay for it.
or most of it.
All right. You already answered that. Were you nervous to join, or were you like nervous or excited?
I guess I was a little nervous, but I wasn't really, because I kind of had no idea what it was about.
So more like a wonder, I guess.
I don't know if I really was that nervous.
All right. In the
When
Air
I
Force-
got there, it was, I was like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
You know, but
All right. At what point did you choose to become an engineer? Was it before you joined? When you joined? Not engineer, jet engine mechanic. Before you joined, when you joined, or sometime like during your
before
service.
I joined.
Okay.
Well, during the joining process, that's when the jet engine
test?
mechanic. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the test I actually was higher. I scored higher on computers,
Mhm.
which they wouldn't say now, but back then, I mean, computers were just coming around. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So it wasn't like.
But you liked the idea of
Yeah,
jet
yeah. I
engine
thought, that, you know, where else? How else do you become a jet engine mechanic?
yeah, I guess.
I mean, it just sounded interesting to me. So.
Okay. All right, so we'll move on to like basic training.
Mm-hmm.
Just making sure. I'm just marking off like what time each section is.
Yeah. That's
All right. When did you attend, or no, where did you attend basic training?
San Antonio. Corpus Christi to me.
What's that mean?
It's like that's does it say
A town like outside of San Antonio?
that? I forget how that.
It's fine if you don't know the exact.
I think it's in Corpus Christi, Texas.
Well, it's near San.
Yeah,
near
San Antonio's the major city, basically.
Okay. How long was basic training?
6 weeks. Which is one of the reasons I chose the Air Force too. I guess I
It
should
was shorter.
Yeah. I think the Army's like 12, or the Marines is like 16 or something.
Okay. Can you describe what basic training was like? Did you have an everyday routine?
Yeah. Pretty much what we did is we would, in the mornings, Reveille would go off.
Reveille is.
The wake up music, basically.
Okay.
It's a trumpet. Da, 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 da. So that would wake you up in the morning. Then you had to be downstairs to do your. We had to run a mile every day, and we had to do calisthenics in
Okay.
the morning. Then you went back to your room, took a shower, got dressed, went to breakfast, marched to breakfast, and then you basically marched all day.
Mhm.
You trained all day, marched.
When did you go to sleep?
9 o'clock at night.
Right.
We had to go to bed at 9 and wake up at 5. Lights out were at 9.
Mhm.
So you got 8 hours sleep, basically.
All right.
9.
Do you feel it took a toll on you mentally or physically?
No, I was in good shape because I wrestled in high school.
Yeah.
And mentally, I think it did for like the first 3 days. And then once I realized how things worked, it was all game. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Did you ever think about quitting?
Yeah, in the first 3 days.
15 days.
Then once I figured everything out, once I figured out that they were mentally messing with you because it was their job.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? They weren't just mean guys.
Were you like angry at him at first?
I was just like, this guy's a pain in the neck, pretty much. I mean, he was mean
Like
to people
unnecessarily?
and mean to everybody, basically.
So that's what it was like.
Uh-huh.
They were just being mean because
On
that would
purpose.
help you.
Yeah, to mentally mess with you,
Okay.
basically, to make you stronger. Like, they were really critical about, like, clothes. Like, your underwear had to be 6 inches. It had to be grounded to the drawer, which means it had the corner of your underwear had to actually be against the side of the drawer. If
Uh-huh.
it moved on you, then you would fail inspection. So you had to make sure. The same thing with like your shoes at night. Your shoes at night had to be grounded to the bed, and they had to be laced a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem was your bed wasn't tied down, so it could move in the night.
Yeah.
So you were always like reaching down and making sure your shoe, because if you did, you got written up when an inspector came in at night.
What would happen if you got written up?
Well, if you
Was there a punishment?
yeah, if you got written up a certain amount of times, I think it was 3, you would get set back in basic training. I can't
To
remember
the
if it was
beginning?
to the beginning or like 10 days or
Do you
something.
know anybody that happened to?
There was a guy, they had started before me, and he was doing dorm guard. You have to, part of your responsibility is dorm guard overnight.
Yeah.
Like you may have to do like 2 hours, say from 3 to 5 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
During that time, somebody can come up to the door and try to get in. You're not allowed to let them in. But they, like one time, the guy did it to me, and he kept just saying, "Do you know who I am? Open the door." And I said, I had to tell him, "No, show me some identification." And the guy would like just throw something up real fast, so I couldn't actually see if it was him.
Yeah.
I mean, it could have been. I know one guy actually let a guy in that had Mickey Mouse on his card because he got so scared because they yell at you. I mean, they want you to.
Wait, so was it?
They're trying to make you open the door, but you can't open the door.
So
and then
it
they're
was
telling
like-
you, "Do you know who I am?" And you're scared to death, but you can't open the door.
You didn't open the door.
No, I didn't.
Somebody did though.
Yes, and no. One kid, what happened is, I know this is the only story I really know. One kid fell asleep, and the guy was knocking at the door, and eventually he opened the door. He had a key,
Yeah.
and he found the guy sleeping, and it was the guy's last night. He was going to graduate the next day,
Oh, that's nice.
so he had to go all the way back to the beginning and start
Did he do
from
it?
scratch. I don't know.
You don't know.
I know he had to. I was close to graduating anyway. I think we only had like 2 more weeks or something like that.
All right, so it kind of relates to that. But do you
And
ever,
they do have a graduation. I mean, you do a parade,
Uh-huh.
and you know that's basically what you're training for the whole time is the parade, how to march. And
did you ever think your supervisors were like too harsh?
he was my supervisor. Ended up not my supervisor, my like TI they call him,
What's
training instructor, or like in the army they call them like drill sergeants,
Yeah.
but in the Air Force they call them TIs or whatever, technical instructor. And what was the question?
Do you ever think your supervisors were too harsh?
He was harsh, but he was doing it for a reason. Again, once I understood what was going on, I understood he was trying to make us tougher. And
Did they ever like?
you know, I knew the guy. Eventually, I could tell that the guy liked me deep down inside,
Uh-huh.
even though he would never admit it. You know, he'd call me whatever names. I mean, he used a lot of vulgar language, and we did have a couple guys in our group that were very religious.
Did they
And some of the
complain?
things, yeah, they complained to him. So eventually, I'm not sure if this was the reason because it was all behind closed doors, but I knew a couple guys that went to the commanding officer to complain about the guy because of his language. And they were very religious. So they didn't like you. So eventually, whether that had to do with it or not, he disappeared with like 2 weeks left.
Oh, okay.
He went to another group
All right.
that was more stricter. Like the group he went to, they were like they were going to be like fighters more.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? They were like so they were going to actually do fighting, so he could probably get away with
Yeah. Get
what he did. Yeah, I mean we were just regular.
All right. 7 to 8% of people in the Air Force drop out after boot camp. Or
God, I
basic
never
training.
realized that.
So what made you stay? You just like wanted to ride it out, pretty much.
Well, you have to stay, kind of.
Well, yeah, it's probably difficult to.
Yeah, I mean I don't know how you get out after that.
Did
Unless
you know
claim,
anybody
like,
who left?
mental there were people that left
Do you know
during
why?
it, but I don't know why.
Okay.
I assume it was stress. A lot of kids had a hard time with it because it was their first time away from home.
So people were like homesick.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you get homesick. You're
Mhm.
definitely homesick. I mean, I had a girlfriend that I thought I was going to marry back then, so she broke up with me when I was there.
Yeah.
So it was hard because you can't talk to anybody, or I mean, you can't